We are going to start today by recognizing the men and women who have been on the front line and probably most at risk from the beginning of this crisis. It is National EMS Week, and the men and women of Detroit EMS have been remarkable. We have not had sick call-ins. We haven't had people missing. It has been they've operated without missing a beat, without complaint. And so I've asked Sean Larkins, the head of the Detroit Fire Department's EMS service, to kick off today's briefing with an appropriate acknowledgement of the men and women of this department. Sean?
Thank you, Mayor Duggan. On behalf of Executive Fire Commissioner Jones, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your leadership during this crisis. This is a momentous time, obviously, for the Detroit Fire Department, for the EMS providers, MFRs, EMTs, paramedics, and we are grateful and humbled by being able to serve during the time of this crisis. This is a bulletin that went out to all the members of the department. I'd like to just read it for you. Acknowledging EMS Week 2020, EMS Strong, ready today, preparing for tomorrow. This week, the nation takes time out to recognize the hard work, dedication, bravery, compassion, and honor of all those that proudly render care as part of the emergency medical services team. The men and women of the Detroit Fire Department serving as MFRs, EMTs, and paramedics are the brightest and best in the country and have served with distinction since 1972. This year's theme, EMS Strong, Ready Today, Preparing for Tomorrow, reflects the outstanding emergency medical services work performed by the Detroit Fire Department during this COVID-19 pandemic. The department has taken the lead not only with providing pre-hospital medical care to COVID-19 patients in the city, but by providing an internal COVID-19 response to all city employees, testing of Detroit's most vulnerable populations in nursing homes and homeless shelters, and coordinating the tracking, testing, and monitoring of emergency responders. All the fire department members are hereby commended for their efforts on behalf of the citizens of Detroit. By continuing to work together, you have made this department the best in the country. As we, as a department, as a city, prepare for tomorrow, while continuing to prove ourselves ready for today, the Detroit Fire Department will always be leaders in the field of emergency medical services. So I'd like to congratulate everyone, all of our partners, the different city departments that make it possible to have personal protection equipment, all of the vendors that have provided food for the responders during this time, our partners with health department, with police, and we're just so grateful and honored again to be able to continue to serve the city, especially during this unprecedented time of this COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you, Chief Larkins, for the great job you're doing, and the men and women of the department. They're deeply appreciated by the people of Detroit. We'll start again, as we always do, with numbers. We have to report today 1,282 lives that we have lost in this city. That's 4 more than yesterday. And of those 4, 1 was the first week of April and 1 was in March. So the rates are continuing to drop. And when you look again at our weekly numbers, which to me is the ultimate test, and we went from 286 5 weeks ago to 234 to 155, 85 2 weeks ago, 57 a week ago, 22 deaths in the last 7 days. You just look at that, we are down more than 90% in 4 weeks. This is the reason Detroit is getting so much attention, is the commitment that we have made as a city to wearing the mask and the social distancing has led to remarkable results. And if we continue to do this, we keep wearing the mask every day, and it's going to be for months, we're going to be wearing the mask every day. We just are. We're going to be able to reopen our businesses, get more and more people back to work. I talked on Monday about Phase 4. You look at these numbers, and the biggest test for Phase 4 is, are your death and infection rates declining? And they are clearly dramatically declining in the city. We're very close to that. The governor is dealing with an urgent crisis in Midland today, and Detroit stands ready to help in any way we can with our fellow Michiganians who are flooded out of their homes, and we're already in contact with potential ways to help. But when the governor is able to turn her attention to this, I expect that we will be to Phase 4 quickly, which means a whole lot of retail businesses in this city will be able to open. But if these numbers are going to stay like this, they have to open safely. And so I talked to you on Monday about the Detroit Means Business site. Today at 6 o'clock, it's going to go live for registration. The services are going to be available to you. Don't wait till the day the governor says we're in Phase 4. Let's get ready now so that you're ready to open your business on the first day, and your customers know, because you put a plan online showing them how they're going to be safe, that they can come back. And so one of the leaders in the effort, and we've been great support from DTE, from Quicken Loans, from McKinsey, and from a whole host of philanthropic groups, along with the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. But one of the leaders has been the head of the Detroit Civil Rights and Inclusion Office, and that's Charity Dean. And Director Dean will take you through, if you are a business that thinks you may open in Phase 4, not restaurants, not hair and nail salons, but pretty much any other business in the city that's not open probably falls in Phase 4, not casinos either. But anything else probably falls in Phase 4. If you want to be open quickly, Charity is going to take you now through that process.
So thank you, Mayor. I am excited to be here, and we are really excited about the possibilities for Detroit businesses. We have been working hard to make sure that Detroit businesses are ready to go when we enter into Phase 4. So I just want to remind you, on Monday, we formed a coalition of public, private, and philanthropic partners to help small businesses with their needs. And this coalition is dedicated to helping small businesses recover, return safely, and reimagine their businesses. And so today at 6 o'clock, if you go to DetroitMeansBusiness.org, you'll be able to do a few things. And it all starts with filling out your registration form. Starting tomorrow from 9 to 5, our business support team will be able to answer your questions. So if you go on tonight and complete that form, and maybe you've got a question related to some of the resources that we are providing, you're going to be able to get a call as early as tomorrow from our business support team. And then they will be able to take your call tomorrow. Also tomorrow, we will start with our first live webinar. And the focus tomorrow is really going to be around returning to work and getting employees ready to return to work. And so what that means in terms of work share and helping your employees transition from unemployment. And so we have experts from Detroit at Work, Tech Town, and Everything HR that are going to be on there live Thursday to answer your questions on the website, on DetroitMeansBusiness.org. Also, Friday, there will be another webinar around marketing. The big announcement that we're really excited about, and we've gotten tons of requests about, is the PPE distribution. With a generous donation from the DTE Foundation, we will be able to give Detroit businesses a start on PPE. And so if you go online today at 6 o'clock and you complete that registration form, it's going to ask you, do you need PPE? How many employees do you have? When you complete that form, you'll be able to get a response on how to schedule your pickup for PPE. So the real work starts tonight at 6 o'clock, but keep following us. Everything Means Business is it's a broad coalition, and we hope to have announcements on a regular basis. We are really committed to making sure Detroit businesses thrive. This is the best city in the world, and so we want to make sure you're prepared to enter into the next phase. So go on tonight, fill out your registration form, and if you have any questions, you can contact our help center. Thank you very much.
And so Charity will be able to answer questions from the media after this, but I don't know what we've had, 3,000 or 4,000 people have already been on the site. And the question is, when can I actually get a benefit from it? The answer is you start at 6 tonight, relatively simple. The Thursday webinar is going to be an interesting one. It won't necessarily be about the healthcare side, but you've heard stories about workers don't want to go back to work because the unemployment benefits through July are so high, we can't get them to work. That webinar will show you how to bring employees back in a way that they don't lose money by coming back to work. Because you can't open your business if you can't get your folks to come back. And so that kind of help, we have the experts in the way the state and the federal unemployment works. We will show you how to bring people back in a way that they don't lose financially. That's the Thursday webinar that you're going to want to be on at 3 o'clock if you're trying to figure out how to get your employees to come back. And then the plan is this, that Tuesday and Wednesday at Eastern Market, they have 600,000 masks, 1 million gloves, just gallons and gallons of cleaning liquids and the like. If you register, they'll contact you and you can schedule an appointment where you can drive by and pick that up from Eastern Market at Tuesday or Wednesday next week so you can be ready to go. All of those things start after you go on tonight and fill out your registration form. Any Detroit business between 2 and 50 employees, and we will be available to help. The next announcement we have today, and we're just using these sessions now to keep Detroiters informed on a whole range of things that are important to you, but the 4th of July fireworks have been a tradition in this city, certainly my whole life, and mean a lot to a lot of families in this city. We weren't able to do it on the regular schedule for reasons we all understand, but Tony Michaels, who puts on that fantastic fireworks show every year, has got a plan for this year with the expectation that next year we'll return to what we think of as a traditional fireworks experience. But Tony's going to tell you today what we'll be doing this summer for the fireworks. Tony?
Thank you, Mayor, and I have to say we are fortunate in this city to have you. And along with the great people, the first liners and so on, which really brought up an idea for the parade company. And knowing going into June 22nd that the Ford fireworks were not going to happen on that date and we would cancel the fundraiser and all, we started thinking about all the great people, the frontliners, including the nurses, doctors, policemen, firemen, truck drivers, everybody involved, and how great this city really is. And we thought about the Ford fireworks. It doesn't take a massive setup like some of our great friends and their events that had to be canceled for obvious reasons. We get the show ready, we get on the barges, and we bring it out. So we had a thought that we could really bring, we won't bring people together, but we can bring hearts together in our city. So on August 31st, Monday, we will have the Ford fireworks. It will be a television-only show. There'll be no congregating places such as Hart Plaza, but the mayor and Chief Craig will share some of that down the road. But we're able to pull this show off with our partners at WDIV. And just a couple of things about that show. It will be one of the most special moments that Detroit has ever seen, because what we're going to do is to feature the great stories of the people of the great city of Detroit, what they did, how they did it, and also remembering the amazing people that had passed away through this terrible virus. And we will come together. The theme is we are one together. And that night, August 31st, Detroit will see a show that they have never seen before, and I promise it will be the best fireworks show that this country has ever seen. And I cannot thank Mayor Duggan for his vision, and really, we discussed this, and he said, Tone, we can do this. And so at the Parade Company, we are ecstatic to be able to bring this to Detroit and to the people who have done so much. So I urge you on August 31st to tune in and on WDIV and to watch probably one of the greatest Detroit shows that you will ever see, a 3-hour show. So thank you so much, and we are one together. We really are. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tony. And then, again, to let Detroiters know what you can expect Ron Brundidge is here from the DPW. For some reason, he's asking me to do this presentation, but if you have any questions, you can ask him. But he does a great job, and you will see, and you are starting to see now, 93 miles of road construction going to be done this summer. The contractors are out, the workers are working, they're doing it under absolutely the most safe medical protocols being done anywhere. And if you can see this map, the red lines are the major streets being resurfaced, the blue lines are the residential streets, and basically it is a combination of how bad the road is and how much traffic is on it. Now, I think most people know some roads in this city are state roads. They're the ones that have an M in front of them, and you know what they are, Gratiot and Grand River and Woodward and the like. There are county roads, which are a little bit less easy to tell, and there are city roads. And so what I'm showing you are the roads for which the city has responsibility, and what you're going to see are these kinds of projects. And if you can see the picture, everybody's got their masks, everybody's got their gloves, everybody's temperature is checked on these crews every day, and they can't even go to work unless they've been through the city testing site, and we have certified them as being COVID-19 free to start with. We are still continuing to see infection rates of city employees at be between 2 and 3%. Infection rate citywide is about 4 to 5%, and I think we're going to see the same pattern with our construction companies. So to give you a sense, Burt Road over on the west side from 96 to Plymouth, Evergreen north of McNichols, Hubble from McNichols to Grand River, the Southfield Service Drive, Puritan between Southfield and Greenfield, a good stretch of Linwood, Linden between Livernois, Wyoming, chunks of Schaefer from Wyoming itself, East Lafayette, Verner, and all of this will be up on the website by tomorrow, so you can look at your part of town. But all of these roads will be resurfaced by the end of this year. We lost a few weeks at the start of the season because of COVID, but not very much. We think that we can make it up. And this is what we're going to continue to do. We are going to rebuild the infrastructure of this city. And Friday we'll talk more about what we did in Jefferson Chalmers with the Tiger Dam, with the terrific rains we've seen the last couple days. We had a couple of places where the water started to come through, and we've got teams out on the ground right now addressing that. And we're not going to let the kind of flooding in that neighborhood that happened last year happen this year. But I understand that the water levels are already in May higher than they were by the middle of summer last year. So we're dealing with, again, record water levels. It's part of what's causing the problem around this state, but we're going to be prepared because our infrastructure team is doing such a great job, and Ron will be available for questions as well. And so finally, we'll turn it over to our health director, Denise Fair.
Right, thank you, Mayor. So today we have confirmed 10,524 COVID-19 cases and 1,282 deaths. Now we can see that our week-to-week data is trending in the right direction. It's trending downward, but we continue to be saddened by the loss of our Detroiters, our neighbors and our citizens. So Detroit is widely known for summer festivals and outdoor concerts and parks. These are the times that will test our fortitude because many of us love the summers in the city, but we must not become too relaxed. So I continue to urge caution. Wearing our masks, practicing social distancing, washing our hands frequently will be even more important as many of us tend to venture out. Trust me, I get it. As the city supports more businesses opening up, we want residents to support them, but we must do so safely. So I'm really glad to see Tony Michaels here, and I really want to applaud him for his innovative approach to ensure the fun continues with our annual fireworks and keeping families' safety in mind. And Tony, you are setting the bar really high. So this will call upon our venues that host these amazing gatherings to be creative and be innovative in how they are planning to welcome back customers and guests. So the Detroit Health Department remains committed to working with organizers to ensure the success of events in our city that are organized to protect the health and safety of event participants and the local community. We look forward to supporting innovative ways that allow venues or events, again, to safely welcome their guests at the appropriate time. Now, switching gears and discussing our senior apartment strategy, we're continuing to mitigate this virus for those buildings that have confirmed cases. We're also distributing PPE and providing education to the staff. As of today, we've now tested over 1,600 residents in about 30 facilities, and the infection rate still remains around 2%. We're also continuing to retest our 26 nursing homes in the city because this process is not a one-and-done situation if we truly want to diminish the spread in these congregate settings. So that is the update on our senior apartments. Before I end, I do want to remind everyone that May is National Mental Health Month. The University of Michigan just put out a study that stated that 1 in every 2 individuals are experiencing anxiety and depression. And so if you are feeling those feelings, that's our reality. Those are true feelings, and please make sure you reach out and talk to someone. It's also National EMS Week, and I personally want to thank our EMS team. They have worked really closely, of course, with the city and also the Detroit Health Department, so I personally want to thank them. We applaud you. And again, as Tony mentioned, I'm going to close out and say we are one together. So nothing stops Detroit. We are beating this. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to the mayor.
And we'll take any questions.
Good afternoon, everybody. M.L. Elric with the Detroit Free Press.
When are your colleagues going to join you?
The Free Press remains resolute in
All
our
right.
defending of the torch of democracy and freedom of the press. So
Glad to know somebody's on guard. I don't know what happened to Jim Kirchner. He used to show up.
that's why I'm here. I got sick of Jim getting all the attention.
All right.
So
Okay.
he can't be good looking and loved. He'll just have to settle for being good looking. I'm going to start with Ms. Dean. Given that 3,000 to 4,000 people have already responded to the call to prepare to reopen their businesses, just doing a little quick math, that sounds like about 150 masks per store. Have any preparations been made to replenish that store of PPE? Because I suspect it'll go pretty quickly.
Thank you for the question. So the 3,000 to 4,000 number was the number of folks that have gone to our website. And so, we expect that we will get a lot, but we've got a really broad coalition that we're going to look at what the demand is and be able to respond accordingly. I want to be clear, though, the PPE is for businesses with 2 to 50 employees, and so that will also kind of narrow down who's going to be asking for it. But we have a broad coalition, and we're going to be continuing to work to find resources for businesses.
But the intention is to get companies the PPE to get started for their first few weeks, and then with the expectation that they would get their own suppliers. We just didn't want people to be struggling at the beginning. So you'll get an initial supply from us, and then you will also get contacts in order to continue to purchase in the future.
And there's a list of PPE suppliers on DetroitMeansBusiness.org, and we know that there are businesses that have been looking at that list as well.
Okay, and have you been able to ascertain whether or not these suppliers will be able to meet the demand as businesses? Because if we have, I believe, it was 36,000 small businesses, that's a lot of folks to take care of their staff and, of course, their customers.
Well, the suppliers that are on the website are vetted suppliers, so there are suppliers that the folks on the coalition have vetted, and we think that they're going to be really great to be able to respond to the needs of Detroit businesses.
Okay. Right now, PPE is actually pretty good with the exception of gowns, which is the one point that you were still hearing about shortages, and for the most part, businesses aren't going to be focused on gowns the way caregivers would be, but we believe we're going to be fine on PPE. We'll know that more, but if you think about what's going to happen, you'll get your small retail stores open in phase 4. Then I'm not sure whether hair and nail salons come next and then restaurants or the other way around. The governor hasn't made that decision, but it will be phased over time. So it's not like every business in this city will open up at once, but we feel confident the PPE supplies are in good shape right now.
Okay. And Ms. Fair, with just for Detroiters who may not be feeling any symptoms, the fact that we can all get tested now, why should Detroiters who think that they are not infected go ahead and make an appointment to get tested? What's the benefit to the city and to individuals?
Great question. So there is something called asymptomatic, which means you could be perfectly healthy and be asymptomatic. You could be a carrier. And so it's important to know if you do have COVID-19, you could have it but not have any symptoms. So it's important to go to the State Fairgrounds right now, as of today. Any Detroiter can be tested. So I urge everyone to just go and get tested. It doesn't really hurt anyone. So that is my recommendation.
And ML, you raise a good point. And Detroit is the one city in the state now. Everybody can get tested, no matter what your age. If you got a child under 12, let us know. We'll have the smaller swabs, and we will be ready. Any Detroiter, with or without insurance, with or without symptoms, with or without a doctor, just call, and you can get an appointment. And the other question we're getting is, what about people who work in Detroit? And that hasn't changed. Anybody who lives in the suburbs and works in Detroit, if your company has enrolled, and the great majority of companies have, if you work in the city, you can be tested as well, because of course we want people who come into the city to work to be equally protected. And so the fairgrounds can see 1,200, 1,400 people a day. We've got the ability to take you. If you call today, you'll be in tomorrow. That's how efficiently it is operating. We would love to see every Detroiter get tested.
And do the results of those tests let somebody know if they had it and it's now out of their system? Okay.
It's just all they know is whether you're infectious today. So the blood tests, which are being done in some places, will tell you if you had it and if you have the antibodies. That's an important scientific question. It isn't necessarily an important question from preventing the spread. We want to know who's infectious. And so everything that the city's doing about 2,000 times a day is testing whether you have it today and whether you're potentially infecting other people. Those are the folks that we need to isolate. So everything we're doing is just to tell you whether you have it today.
Okay. And for Mr. Michaels, I'm wondering, Detroiters are so resourceful when it comes to finding good vantage points to watch the fireworks. I know the mayor and the police will try and come up with a plan, and Ron will put up what he needs to keep people where they're supposed to be. But what do you do to stop maybe hundreds of thousands or 1 million people who are used to getting down there and finding a good vantage point from going down there and saying, there's a show, I'm going to go?
I believe the messaging leading up to that is going to be key, but it's also going to be the plan through Chief Craig and Mayor Duggan that will be out in the near future.
Chief Craig says he'll have that figured out by July.
So he's got some time. Okay.
Right, but he's confident he can do it, and he has signed off on Tony's plan.
Okay.
And WDIV will be right on top of that the whole way, getting the messaging out to everybody on a regular basis, along with WJR.
Okay. And in terms of the amount of money that's raised by ancillary events for charities and other things, are you concerned that having lost this big draw to downtown is going to affect the amount of money that can be raised for nonprofits and others who rely on the money that comes from this annual event?
No, I mean, to be really honest with you, we're really happy that we're even able to pull this off and to bring it to people, ML. So yeah, there's no question that, people are getting hurt every day. But to be able to put this on and to give people some hope in an event this summer that is spectacular, world class, that's a good feeling. And to be able to honor the great first liners and that night in a really big way, that's really key.
And how much does the fireworks raise roughly on an annual basis?
You mean for the parade company or?
Well, no, just money that may go to nonprofits or.
Well, we are a nonprofit, so the parade company is. So we raise the money to put on the shows and the parade and all those great things for Detroit. That's what we do.
Okay.
Sponsorships, ticket sales. The fundraiser is canceled, the party up on the deck.
Right.
That's over 2,000 people that night. That's canceled. But we're fine. This is important to the city.
Okay.
Yeah, we lost more from the auto show with the charity preview.
Right.
That funds a dozen children's charities. But if you look at what the corporations and the philanthropic community has done in their donation, they've been so generous that we've seen greater donations the last 8 weeks than I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. And will this event, honoring people who we've lost, will this be the event that you were talking about to bring the city together, that Rochelle Riley may be,
Rochelle's planning her own event. She says it'll be bigger than Tony's.
I would never cross Rochelle. So you may want to save some of those fireworks.
We will.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, just a couple questions actually for Mr. Brundidge and secondarily for Ms. Dean. On the road construction program, can you say how much the investment is in the roads this year?
Sure. This year's program, the mayor indicated that we're going to be improving 93 miles of local and major streets. The total cost for that portion of our program is going to be $63 million. In addition, we're going to have streetscape improvements occur on 5 major corridors in the city this year. The cost for those projects, which will include not only paving, but also beautiful landscaping, attractive lighting, et cetera. The cost of those projects is going to be an additional $26 million.
Can you remember off the top of your head where those 5 streetscape projects are?
I can. Segments of Kercheval from Van Dyke to St. Jean, Conant as it approaches Hamtramck, West McNichols from Livernois going towards Greenlawn just before Wyoming. There's a Grand River Parklet in the northwest part of the city. And I apologize, Mr. Mayor, I forgot the 5th one.
And you're finishing up Livernois.
And we're also finishing up.
I don't know how you could forget that.
And one other question, could you talk a little bit about the efforts to make sure that Detroiters are hired to work on the construction projects?
Thank you for that question. This year, that's one of the things I'm most proud of. Over the last 6 years, this administration has been committed to creating opportunities for Detroiters. So for all of the construction contracts that we award for work that's going to occur this year, as has been the case for the last 6 years, we require at least 51% of that work to be done by Detroit residents.
Okay. Last question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all very much.